Hey, it's episode 36 of Bonfire Man. Here's how Bonfire Man works. I'm locked to specific chunks in the game. I have to interact with everything in my unlocked chunks exactly once. So that means every tree needs to be chopped, every enemy needs to die, every resource needs to be consumed. When I interact with something, it is exhausted. When something is exhausted, that means I'm not allowed to interact with it again. I'm allowed to randomly unlock a new chunk whenever all of the entities in my current chunks have been so exhausted. When I enter a new chunk, I rest at a bonfire, as in the Souls games. Resting at a bonfire refreshes or unexhausts all of the content in previous chunks that I've already been to. Now I have to exhaust all entities in both the old and new chunks to continue to progress. My objective is to unlock every chunk in RuneScape. According to my estimates, I think that's going to take about 10,000 hours to complete. If you're interested in all the specifics, minutiae, minor rules, exceptions, that kind of a thing, there's a Google Doc in the description that lists all of that. Let's go ahead and get to the playthrough. Okay, so today's a pretty exciting episode because there's a lot of stuff to do and a lot of stuff to talk about here. I'm going to go ahead and cross the fog wall, light the bonfire, get all that out of the way. We are technically using the minigame teleport to get to More Ol Rec, the Fight Pits teleport. The gist of it is I informally polled folks, should I include minigame teleports as rollable chunks? Folks said yes. This is a rollable, teleportable place, but it's underground. Its associated surface chunk is the Karamja Volcano. So we're going to teleport there. We don't actually have a fog wall for getting into the Fight Pit. We have a fog wall for leaving the Fight Pit and the Cramdor dungeon into the Karamja Volcano. So let's go do that first. Guess while I'm teleporting, start giving you my thoughts. I'm hoping that this is all working as I expected. I don't think there's any like quests or weird stuff in the way that would keep me from getting to the surface, but we will figure that out here in a second. Yeah, here we are in More Ol Rec for the first time. I'll go over the stuff that's over here in a second, but let me see if I can find my way out to the Cramdor dungeon. Lots of music tracks in here as you run around. I can access all of this gold and silver, so that's good to see. The chunk picker does a good job of separating the outer part of More Ol Rec from the inner part, even though they're kind of overlapping chunks because they are difficult to access separately. Mercifully, I don't have to keep track of that. All right, this should take me to Cramdor dungeon. Yeah, dangerous road. And I think that this is the only part of Cramdor dungeon that I can get to because I need to have Dragon Slayer to go through the wall up here. This should be what's in Cramdor. Even more gold, which is kind of cool. Okay, crossing the fog wall. Excellent. Here we are in a little slice of Karamja. This is pretty cool. Let's light the bonfire. Half hoping that it wouldn't work. Bonfire lit, and of course let's rest at it to respawn everything here. Okay, cool. So we've got the surface chunk unlocked, and the surface chunk isn't crazy exciting. In fact, we're going to be able to complete it this cycle, 100% complete it, meaning we'll get to skip the dead trees, which would be really nice. Unfortunately, I was hoping these snakes might drop snake skins, but it's only the snakes further into Karamja that do, so no ranged upgrades here. The monkeys are important, though, because the monkeys are going to let us complete Rag and Bone Man, which isn't a big deal, but it does get us an extra quest point, and we need 2 more quest points to be able to do, or start at least, Dragon Slayer 1, which would be really, really nice to get access to the Champions Guild. Yeah, so we're going to 100% complete Karamja Volcano. We're going to complete what we can of the southern part of Cramdor dungeon. We're going to count the northern part as a separate part once we get to Dragon Slayer. We're not going to complete More Ol Rec because there's a master stash there that I am not going to be building. Probably can slowly kill all of these Tazar, and I am excited about the Tazar. They have some pretty amazing drop tables. Yeah, now that we're here and we've lit the bonfire, let's go ahead and do that summary, and we'll come back and work on clearing these chunks. Okay, it's time for the objective summary. We're going to look at the entire map of all of the chunks we've currently unlocked and talk about what's going on. As usual, there is a time code in the description if you want to skip back to the playthrough. Starting out with 100% completed chunks, these are the chunks in which we've exhausted everything at least once, and doing so confers some benefits. We can skip the tasks in this chunk if we want to, and there's a few extra things we can do. I've gone over this at length in previous episodes, but quickly, we can chop all trees into stumps, we can fish until fishing spots move, we can pickpocket NPCs 28 times each. We can mine all shooting stars to depletion, we can run agility courses until the Mark of Grace spawns, and we can buy out the shop stocks once per cycle. That only applies to the green chunks on this screen here. Nothing has really changed here from last episode. The Karamja volcano itself, we will be able to 100% complete the surface part of the chunk, which means that in the future we can skip cutting the trees there, which is a minor benefit. I haven't talked about this aspect in a while, but we do track 100% chunk completion separately for surface chunks versus instances and subsurface chunks. I generally don't include that detail on this summary because it's a lot to get into. As a quick example, we track the ham hideout surface chunk separately from the actual ham hideout itself underground. Once we're able to actually complete the ham hideout, we'll be able to pickpocket all of the NPCs down there 28 times each, and that's going to be a huge benefit. Underground areas are technically separated into chunks just like the surface areas, but to keep this as simple as possible, we kind of treat the entire underground as one contiguous area for the purposes of completion. Now, the Karamja volcano chunk is unusual because two of its connected underground areas behave pretty differently from a lot of other subsurface zones. The Crandor dungeon is separated into two distinct areas depending on whether you've done Dragon Slayer 1 or not, and Mor Ulrek itself is separated into an area for pre-fight caves versus post-fight caves. So for tracking completion for these underground areas, I'm just going to rely on the convention set by Chunk Picker v2. The Chunk Picker treats the two different regions of the Crandor dungeon and the two different regions of Mor Ulrek as separate zones for the purposes of task tracking. So I'm just going to do the same thing. We'll track the two different halves of Crandor dungeon separately and the two different halves of Mor Ulrek separately. For what it's worth, though, there's nothing really interesting to 100% down there. I would let us skip killing the Tazar, but I'm probably going to want to do that every cycle until I get their obsidian equipment drops. That's it for 100% completed chunks. Let's look at chunks that are blocked from being completed, starting with quest blocked chunks. No change from last episode, same quests that have been blocking us all along. All of these require a ton of additional chunks to be unlocked to be completed, so I expect them to be blocked for some time. After that, skill blocked chunks, same deal. 82 construction for master stashes and a couple of those chunks. 70 mining for adamantite ore is actually probably going to happen relatively soon, which is going to unlock a couple more shooting stars. That'll be really nice. We should be able to get within boost range of 55 construction in this episode to technically complete the Elder Chaos Druids chunk. I'll mark that as complete once it's possible for us to get there and build the stash. It's not really going to matter, though, because I'm going to kill... all that's in there are the Elder Chaos Druids, and I'm going to kill them every single cycle. They have a great drop table. Then we have item-blocked chunks. We still need a big fishing net and a bird snare to do these chunks down in Soul Isle. And then last of all, we have chunk-blocked chunks. We can't complete these because we have to roll adjacent chunks to get to all the content. The new one here is the red base in the northeast corner of Soul Isle. There's just a couple trees on the edges that we can't get to right now. And that's it for the summary. Let's go ahead and get back to the playthrough. All right, so now that you've gotten that overview, I don't think there's too much else to say that my future self didn't just cover there, although I will restate that fight caves, I really want to attempt them. I really badly, it would be so cool to have a fire cape with, you know, these horrible stats and my horrible gear, and I would attempt it if I thought it was possible. Now, I'm sure people are already saying, but you can get a fire cape at level 3. Blah, blah, blah. All of that stuff involves access to unlimited resources via, like, the Grand Exchange, right? You could tick eat it forever with an infinite number of rings of recoil and purple sweets, which I don't have. You can flick prayer, which I probably can do. I need some practice, but I can probably flick my way all the way through the fight caves. But doing so is extremely expensive to supplies, and I really don't have that many bolts, right? I think it's recommended that you have 1,500 bolts if you're not going with an Ava's device, and I have, of my best bolt that I could probably bring, I have like 1,200. So I could try shoring up these supplies, but the problem is, like, they recommend 1,500 bolts if you're going in with a rune crossbow. I'm going to be going in with a mithril crossbow. So I would really want to have lots and lots and lots of bolts, just because using them in an attempt means they're gone forever. And unlike other accounts, I can't just go, like, farm for these. I have a very limited income. So as much as I would love to attempt the fight caves this episode, I don't think it's in the cards. Something is going to need to change here, and I'll tell you the things that could change. One is that if we unlock Herblore, if we get to Taverley, and I guess the Taverley dungeon to the south, we technically need to finish the quest. If we can get to these 2 chunks and I can unlock herb lore, I have more than enough banked herbs to be able to make prayer potions. And if I have prayer potions, I will feel confident, even if I only have, you know, the 1,200 silver bolts and all these other bolts. I'll just bring in a variety of bolts and a bunch of prayer potions, and I feel confident that I can finish it. My fear is I don't want to bring in just the right number of supplies to barely beat the fight caves, and then miss a prayer flick or have Comcast lag out or something and have me instantly die. I guess that's still a threat on Jad, even if I have prayer pots, but I would feel much more confident if I was able to just leave my prayer on, which I would need a full inventory of potions to do that. So getting herb lore unlocked would change things. Getting any chunk that provides an enormous amount of prayer potions is loot. Right now, I do have a couple. Yeah, I have 5 1-dose prayer pots from killing mammoths, which again, I might be able to get to the late waves. I might even be able to get to Jad with that, with my current supplies, but just the risk of any one mistake doesn't mean losing just these prayer pot doses. It also means losing all of those bolts that I have access to. I think getting a significantly higher range level or getting a better ranged weapon might change my mind. I mean, you could argue that I should go in there with a bow instead of a crossbow. The accuracy on the U short bow is way worse than even the mithril crossbow. And I do have like 2,000 addy arrows from Soul Wars. But again, this is like one attempt at best. And if I fuck it up, these arrows are all gone. And it's especially difficult because these arrows are likely to be gone because it's going to take me so long to kill, you know, the later wave enemies that it's unlikely I'm going to be able to pick them up off the ground and recover them safely. So yeah, more ammo. If we got a refreshable ammo shop, that might change things. If we got a way better ranged weapon, that would change things. If we got a much higher ranged level, if we got access to more prayer potions. But right now, the conditions are imperfect. And so I will be leaving it alone for now. But it is exciting to have as a possibility. I might, while I'm recording this, do some research into a melee fight caves, because the melee fight caves mostly fixes my problem. I won't have an ammo issue, right? I am fine if it takes me 10 hours to do. If I have to like regen to full health after every wave, I will do that if it lets me squeeze out a kill. Getting a fire cape this early would be insanely hype. But I have to do that research and watch those videos. I have a feeling that melee fight caves isn't in the cards without some prayer potions, because the bats will drain my prayer if I'm meleeing them. I will at least look into it, though. There are a shitload of imps on this volcano. I don't think I ever knew that. There's like 8 imps. There are a lot of inaccessible trees here. And these are very high on the list of trees no one has ever chopped before, but you can't get to this one, for example, for whatever reason. Just won't let you path there. I should note this chunk to the north. Technically, this part is accessible, but there's actually nothing here. None of these trees are choppable. And I think this counts as under 5% of the total chunk, because most of it is South Crandor, right? This won't be rollable until we unlock more of the Crandor dungeon. There's a little seaweed spawn all the way down here. No reason to pick that up. It's so far away from everything. Still very amused by little things like that, like little item spawns. The other value of that spawn over there is just like, no one even goes on this side of the volcano, right? Except maybe to farm imps. I've always farmed imps in Falador, like South Falador, never on the volcano, but I can see why people do the volcano now. My first ever monkey bones, and actually, I need to, have I not started Rag and Bone Man? I thought I did. Maybe I didn't. Actually, Rag and Bone Man 1 might just require the literal bones, but let me double check it. I think it might actually be specific drops. Oof, yeah, I should have just had this quest running this whole time. I think we're gonna be okay, but I think of the other ones, there's enough for me to kill. Let me go start the quest to make sure that they can actually drop the monkey paw that I need. And Sylvaria is annoying and out of the way. I'm gonna go ahead and like chop the trees and mine the limestone and kill the bats while I'm there. Should have started this hundreds of hours ago, but that's okay. I might not be able to finish it this cycle due to drop rates, but we'll see how good I get. Hey, strength 72. All right, fortunately this chunk unlock gets us 2 bones for Rag and Bone Man. One of them is the giant bats. It's my first time killing a giant bat. All right, first one, drop the giant bat wing. Hopefully didn't preemptively kill that monkey. Deny myself a monkey paw. Lucky me, monkey paw on the first kill. I think these are like 1 in 4 or something like that. Maybe I'm thinking of Rag and Bone Man 2. Anyway, I'll finish the rest of the quest later. I just wanted to make sure I got those 2 out of the way while I'm clearing this place. Finished killing all 8 imps. Some of the monkeys and snakes crossed the chunk boundary. And worse, I think some of them will cross the chunk boundary into Brimhaven and people will close the door behind them. There's another snake. found the last snake. Oh, no. Okay, we got it. Don't hit the monkey either. I already attacked that one. God damn it. Okay, got the snake without pulling me into the adjacent chunk. I gotta find one more monkey. I have a feeling it's trapped in Brimhaven. Oh yeah, I think one of these guys is my monkey. I'm gonna hop really quick to see if I can find it spawn on this side. Yep, got it here. Looks like there's actually a snake that wanders in from the adjacent chunk on the other side, so technically there's 4 here. I'm just gonna leave it on 3. We'll mark tag all and say we're done with snakes. So we got 8 imps, 4 monkeys, 7 scorpions, 3 snakes, 42 dead trees, more like 40 dead trees. I should update that total because there's a couple you can't reach. Victory achieved. This surface chunk is done. Won't have to do it again. Okay, so I am going to probably relabel this as South Crandor Dungeon. Anytime the chunk picker differentiates between different areas like this, usually the entire underground counts as one contiguous area, but here we have a pretty clear block and an actual separate chunk that only becomes available after Dragon Slayer 1. So I think we can clear this part of Crandor Dungeon independently from that part. This ruling would also apply to like the Edgeville Dungeon and the Varrock Sewers because they're technically connected by that pipe. And I guess once we're able to access that pipe, that simultaneously completes both chunks because it's in both, parts. But we would track their completion separately, right? Yeah, here I should be able to do all of this. I'm going to have to kill the critters, the deadly red spiders. I'll add those to the task list since this is completable this cycle. But I guess I'll start working on mining just to get the inventory space dealt with. And no idea who, if anybody, mines these 4 gold ores, but that's the dream of Bonfire Man. Weird shit like that. I guess maybe it's probable someone might mine the ores down here because they're pretty close to the bank chest. Might even be one of the closest to a bank chest, but I don't know if they respawn fast enough. All right, that's all the ores mined. Go ahead and mark them off there. Let's talk about the Tizar and their drop tables. They have some really cool drops. The Tizar Ket has the Abi Cape, which would be best in slot for me for a really long time. The Tizar Shield is amazing and would probably be best in slot for me almost forever. The way this account works, getting a Dragon Defender is, even if we have that chunk unlocked, the only way I could see that being possible is if I do a cheeky thing and basically abuse the Slayer rule, because I think the Cyclops count as Hill Giants, to get us to Hill Giant task and use that to kill more Hill Giants. But even that, I would require like dozens of Hill Giant Slayer tasks to even have a chance at the Dragon Defender. This is probably going to be my best in slot melee offhand for an extremely long time if we get the drop. It is a 1 in 512, and I think it only drops from the Kets. And I only get to kill 19 of them per cycle, which is actually quite a lot. It's probably going to take me a while because they're high level and annoying to kill. Probably 100 or so hours, couple 100 hours until we see that drop. It would be amazing if we got it. The Abi Maul, I don't think is as interesting. Yeah, I don't think the stats on it really make it relevant for me, sadly. The gems are obviously always interesting. The shills, this would be amazing. The Abi Sword would be my best in slot melee weapon, probably until we get a Rune Scimitar, which I don't think is going to happen for a while. I think it's maybe even competitive with the Dragon Scimitar, but I'd have to double check that. In the meantime, if we got the Abi Dagger, it is a strict upgrade over the Adamant Scimitar, but it's not as good as the sword. Of course, they can also drop the Abi Cape. I don't see myself using these. This would really suck to get this as a drop. I would be really sad. Those guys, we'll kill 14, which is not too bad again, but also not very many given how rare the drop rate is. The Tizar Hers are basically a waste of time. I guess we'll get some Tokul from them. Probably not going to spend any Tokul at all until I, get access to the Karamja Gloves 1. I'll just bank it until then. Then finally, the Medj are bad. I'll take the Cape. Horrible drop rate on the Cape. And the Staff is really bad. I don't think I would actually use the Staff. But fortunately, Medj are the fewest that I have access to. So the ones with the most interesting drops are the ones that are the most populated down here. These are going to suck to kill. I'm going to have to look into like safe spotting and stuff. I think I can safe spot most of them around these vents. They're all pretty high level and pretty dangerous, but I will start working on them after finishing the Crandor dungeon. About to kill my first Tizar here. I'm just flicking them. Grab nothing. Okay, cool. The second one drops some Tokul at least. I just got a maze random while working on that. That's cool. All right, 75% reward potential. Ooh, okay, yeah. Pretty good. 162 death runes, 243 steel arrows. I wish I could use this mithril, but I need to get a shitload of coal. I'm going to test something here. I think if you enter the fight caves and leave, it gives you a health and prayer restore. You might have to, like, die for it to work. Okay, yeah, I think I have to die, which might be hard with just the bats. I'm trying to decide if it's worth trying to stay on prayer and then run in there and die really quick to get a refill constantly, or just do it whenever I get particularly low. All right, dying in the fight caves worked. I waited to do it, though, until I was already really low on health from fighting the shills. It would not be worth it to go in there close to full health just to get a prayer restore. I'm going to avoid fighting anything or getting any XP in there, obviously. Just going to let the bat kill me. All right, all the shills are dead. This is a drops. Nothing exciting. It's a 1 in 500, which probably not going to see. We could go dry on it, which means we will never see it before this account is complete. It would be so nice to get that drop. I guess I'm going to start working on the tanky guys next, because the shield would be amazing. Let me make this a little bit more AFK for myself. It's pretty intense to have to flick all of them constantly, so I'm going to try to start working through my mind rune stack here. They're a little bit more resistant to magic than I'd like. Their magic level is like 40 instead of 1, but still pretty accurate. I'm going to try range after this just to see if it's any better. I guess I could like burn through some bolts. Finished up the Tazar Hets. No interesting drops. In fact, they have horrible drop rate. This says I've killed 8. I've actually killed like 19. So now we got to do the Hers and the Medges. I'm a little worried about the Hers because I think that they trigger everything to aggro you, but I'll give it a shot here in a sec. Getting out of here real quick to mine a shooting star. Bummer. There's somebody else here, so I don't think I'm gonna get to mine the star. All right, so I'm back here, and I'm finally in the phase where I need to kill the Medges and the Hers, which I think aggro everything in the immediate area. So I'm gonna do my best to handle this here. Okay, so it's not so bad if I aggro them in a place where everyone else doesn't get stuck on the fences, I guess. Finishing off the last Medge here. This is definitely insanely annoying. These guys have horrible drops. I think they drop the Obsidian Cave at like a 1 in 4,000, which is never going to happen. That's not a realistic drop rate. I think the Hers are going to be really annoying after this. I've only killed the one so far, but they aggro everything around them. All right, I have finished Moral Wreck Outer. It took a really long time. We're like 3 hours into the cycle right now. Hopefully I'll find ways to optimize this in the future, to spend a lot of time not getting killed by aggroed Medges while you're killing the Hers, for example. No interesting drops. This is all that I got. I guess I got an ensouled Tazar head. That's kind of neat, but nothing I can do with it. I'm going to pop out to the Crandor dungeon and finish up these giant bats, lesser demons, and skeletons. Oh, this is interesting. The skeletons down here can drop fire talismans, which... What? Like, I've killed so many skeletons. Are these like a specific brand? Oh, they're not even listed on the drop table. I wonder if they're listed on the wiki. Let me take a look. Here, I'll show you. Be my lifetime skeleton kills. 1 fire talisman out of 914 skeletons. What the fuck? It looks like it's a 1 in 64 drop from unarmed skeletons only. Okay, so there are unarmed skeletons elsewhere that I've killed. The loot logger doesn't track them separately. It may have just worked out that most of the ones I'm fighting in my other zones are armed. That's crazy. All right, I am going to treat this as a separate chunk. Just about everything is done here. I do need to, I guess I picked up all the items. Fire runes. I got that bone but didn't mark it. There's just the critters, the deadly red spiders. So I'm going to kill those real quick, and then we can mark this chunk complete as well. All right, I finished the deadly red spiders. Victory achieved. Crandor dungeon is also complete. At least the south part of it. We'll treat the north half separately once we unlock it. So yeah, we are not going to be finishing Moral Wreck ever. This is going to be a feature of every cycle from now on, but that's good because we need all those drops. Let's go do the rest of the cycle then. I don't have to come back here for anything, so I'm just going to warp out. All right, I'm going to do the Draenor rooftop course. I got kind of unlucky and got a Mark of Grace spawn quite early last time. I'm hoping for about 20 laps is the average, I think. Here comes 35 agility. I'm going to keep lamping it until we get to 36. 36 is going to be more run energy restore, and I'd like to lamp Slayer at least a little bit to get it to 35 for wall beasts. I might even start doing that now because 36 is basically assured at this point. So next time I get a lamp or a book, I'll put it on Slayer. Bummer. Man. Had that one cycle where I got like 24 laps or something. This was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. All right. So unfortunately, I can't be very discerning with shooting stars. I've had a few waves that were really unlucky. So I'm going to do this T3, it's been down for like 25 minutes, so I'm not even gonna get a full hour and a half out of it. It might actually mine out before that point, but I need to get some AFK, so I'm gonna start doing that now. 67 mining. All right, that shooting star just depleted. It was about 20k XP, which isn't great, but it's not terrible. I'm gonna see if there's another one landing here soon. All right, got a T5 star here. Oh, hit the 2 hours in this one. A bit better XP than the last one. Like 25k instead of 27k instead of 20k. All right, got a T4 here, but that's acceptable. We'll go ahead and do it. It should give me 2 hours. It's got a beekeeper random, and man, that has gone from the worst random event in the game to one of the best ones. It's so fast and easy, and I'm getting some flax, which is nice. Going up on 68 mining, 2 more levels, and that's a huge for the account if we can hit 70. Let us complete a handful of chunks, access some more shooting stars. It'll be great. I hope it happens. It looks like if we need 63k to level, I'll probably not get it next cycle, but the cycle after that. All right, that's all I'm going to get for this cycle. 76.2k, not too bad. All of my mining is done. I still have to do pure essence, so maybe I'll pop over and do that real quick. All the wood cutting is done. I got to start working on other skilling activities like thieving. Here's thieving 54. About to hit thieving 55. 5 levels to go. 60 is the big objective right now. New 55 was a good level. Hard to win night, so I don't think I'm going to unlock that for a long time. One of these days I'll stop announcing maze randoms, but I'm still crazy excited by them because they never happen for me. What do we get here? Oh, I got the coal drop. I got 2 coal drops. That is huge. Holy shit. I forgot that this thing could even provide coal. That's almost as much as I get from Soul Wars. All right, that is the best thing that could have possibly happened, I think. It's cooking 63. I'm just trying to reshore up my food for things like Calcite Queen in the future. Also, 63 is my threshold to not burn tuna anymore. I might cook all my tuna here. All right, 64 cooking. I decided to keep going to 64 since I usually don't spend a lot of time cooking. I also cleaned up my bank. I'll show that in a second. Yeah, it took me a minute, but I got my food oriented in like ascending order of how much it heals, so it'll be easier for me to keep track of this. I've just been doing it the bad way for an extremely long time. I think most of my other tabs are reasonably organized. 54 fishing. Just finished my 2 Soul Wars games for a total of 79 zeals, so I'm 1 short. All right, so I'm 1 zeal short of another spoil, but I'll get it next cycle probably. 2 spoils of war, looking for coal, and I got it. Oh, that's such a good coal drop. Oh, that's so much better than even last cycle. What percentage of the total coal I've gotten came, let's see. That's like 1/3 of all the coal we've ever gotten from spoils of war. Incredible. I am pumped about that. And with the maze double coal drop, we are going to be going crazy in Giant's Foundry. All right, the next one, not as good, but still pretty good. And I'm still considering alking the rune arrows. Yeah, great, fantastic, incredible drop. Super pleased with that. All right, I'm going to try to do my Tempora skill here. I feel slightly more informed about how to do the method, but I might still fail. I'm not going to fail on purpose, I promise. Already almost screwed up. Pop right off the ship because I do not have full run energy, and I need it for this to work. So I'm going to wait for a bit. I don't think I'm ever going to see the Tome of Water, but it would be massive for this account, just being able to wield an air staff along with that and only have to use mind runes. Would be really good for magic training. So I did fail. I was under the impression from my last attempt that special attacks just wouldn't happen at all if you did things right, and I didn't have to worry about carrying a rope with me anymore, but I totally did need to care about having a rope on me, so got a lot of extra XP out of that, I think, but I also learned a big lesson for next attempt. Okay, yeah, I think I understood what I did wrong last time. It's not about getting his essence low, it's about getting his energy low, and I think I overloaded a single fish, so it's really important that you do exactly 17 and then exactly 19, and I think I did 20 instead of 19 on my second pump there. I might actually get to load this whole thing without having to run up and come back, which would be really nice. This is, if this goes well, this is currently my best run ever. Just got really lucky with the double harpoon spot. Got a level up there, but had to dismiss it. 55 fishing. Yeah, okay, this makes more sense because he's already back down to 4% energy. Last time he was at 100% in the second phase. Got it. Okay, I think I got this one almost exactly perfect. I don't think I could have done much better. So I'm gonna end up with 8 or 9 reward permits, probably 8. And a lot of XP because I failed the last one at the last possible second, but still, you know, not that much. Why cook? Oh, I got 10! I don't know how that's possible, but okay. I got 10, sure. Excellent. Yeah, damn, that's an achievement. Subdue Temporos, getting rewarded with 10 reward permits from a single fight. Happy I don't have to do that ever again. Wonderful. Okay, here we go. 10 chances. Give me something good, game. Do you need more spirit flakes? The casket's exciting. There's a bunch of rune equipment in there that would be wonderful. Okay, not an incredible pull, but I guess it depends on what's in the casket. I don't want it to be gems.
Random event spawned.
Diamond necklace. All right. All right, I think all my skilling stuff is done. Fishing, thieving, woodcutting, mining, all that. Almost 21 hours into the cycle now, so don't think we're going to hit the last chunk target. It took a long time to do the Karamja Volcano, but we'll see. It depends on how long it takes me to kill Calphite Queen. Farming, 39. All right, so I'm working through all the PDM, and I just coincidentally have finished all of the Rag and Bone Man bones, so since I'm near Draenor Village, I'm going to go really quick and get all that stuff taken care of. I like that they made Fortunato the wine vendor. I get it. All right, got all my bones here. There was a bat wing, a monkey paw, rat bone, goblin skull, unicorn bone, big frog leg, bear ribs, and ram skull. I have access to all of those. All right, back here at the Calphite Queen. Had a bit of a struggle getting the pull to work. I think I've learned that the pull can be 100% deterministic depending on where the guardians are when I go to grab the Calphite Queen. I guess it's maybe like 97% deterministic, because the reason I got in trouble is that the KQ like navigated around this wall here and so didn't pull where I needed her to pull. But at least I know what's going wrong if something's going wrong, and I can port out and come back, which is basically what I did. But this is attempt number 1. Hopefully I can do better than I usually do. I think I got the pull on my first try. I could still make some mistakes here, but I think I finally did it on my first try. So this is going to be like, I got 36 minutes to phase 2. I'm getting close to the end of the kill here. I'm like 11 minutes in. So I think I'm always safe. I think as long as I get this pull down, I'll always get the kill, but that might be it. That's it. Okay, come on, give me something good. That's terrible. Absolute trash. Monkfish are not quite my highest healing food. I think I also got shark drops from the Calphite Queen, but maybe those will be useful if I ever attempt anything later. Yeah, that's like outside my range. I'm probably going to need something like this if I ever do try the fight caves with my current setup, but the more I think about that, the more I think it's not worth the potential wasted supplies. Here comes strength, 73. Just got my first adamantite bar drop from these guys. It's a 1 in 64. I don't know how many of these I've killed. A lot. 3 per cycle? Oh well, I'm actually a little under drop rate. Okay. Something I'd really like from them, I did get the black axe, which is cool for that clue step, but I would love to get a rune chain body. I now have like 3 different ways I can get one, so it'd be a pretty big upgrade from my my mithril plate. All right, so I'm getting really close to the end of the cycle, but before I finish some of my PDM and do Giant's Foundry, I would like to get 53 construction, because then I can boost to 55. I can finally make an armor stand, and I can repair all of my damaged armor, which I have 68. That's going to produce plate bodies, some number of plate bodies that I can turn in at the Giant's Foundry. So this might be a really exciting Giant's Foundry cycle. Let me get working on that now. There's construction 53. Don't actually care about that level, but I can... 53 I've already been able to do, but now I can boost to 55 and make the thing I want. So I'll do that on my next trip back here. All right, over here about the boosts. I'm very excited to make this finally. The armor stand. Amazing. Also the tool store 5, which I don't think has anything I care about, but you know, this would have been a way for us to get secateurs, but we ended up getting them from a farming shop. Awesome. I think I'm going to come back here with an inventory full of damaged armor here soon. Reflected on this before, but it's really cool that this skull scepter is so necessary for my construction training loop. Otherwise, I'd have to do it like every 30 minutes with home teleport. All right, I've been sitting on this damaged armor for a long time, and I'm really excited to see what it turns into. I have never repaired damaged armor before in RuneScape, so I'm excited to see what we get. Oh man, that's so good. That's also so good. Those are each 4 bars in Giant's Foundry. Now, there's a pretty high chance for you to ruin the armor, I guess. Kind of neat that it gives you a small amount of smithing XP too. Steel plate body, amazing. Steel plate bodies are going to let me make some mithril steel swords in Giant's Foundry. That's going to be great. That's ridiculously good. I'm super... This is so many bars. I'll tell you exactly how many once I do my next trip. All right, second batch produced 1 mithril plate body, which is really exciting. I forgot or didn't know that the black plate bodies technically are a clue item, and I don't think I have another way to get them really, so that's also pretty exciting. I have enough that I can do one more trip. I'm actually going to bring my rusty swords with me too, and there's a couple long swords you can produce that are also worth bars, and then I'll report my total winnings here. Okay, I am all done with that. Check out the rewards here on the right. This is insane. This is so good. I mean, it's a one-time thing because it's all of the damaged armors I've collected over many cycles, but this is the equivalent of 4 mithril bars, 16 steel bars, 124 iron bars, which is nuts, 40 bronze bars, and I guess I got the black plate bodies as well. So crazy hype, ridiculously good. I am so pleased to have gotten that. I also went ahead and did all my swords, so I've got these long swords. It's 13 iron bars and 3 bronze bars, which, you know, less exciting, but still really cool. So yeah, this we're gonna be popping off in Giant's Foundry this cycle. This will probably be by far the most smithing XP we ever get in a cycle, barring like the 250 gold ore drop from Calphite Queen. Okay, I'm basically at the end of the cycle. I still have to do last man standing, but just about everything else is done. I get to do lots and lots and lots of Giant's Foundry. Let me calculate how much I can get away with here. All right, I think my math is telling me I can make 2 mithril steel swords, 7 mithril iron swords, and 7 bronze iron swords, so I'm going to try to do that. Yeah, so this is the highest quality sword I think I've ever made. Mithril steel and a pretty good mold mixture. All right, let's see. Our highest quality sword gives 10,000 smithing XP and 20,000 coins. Pretty outstanding. I don't know if we're going to get... We might get pretty close to that 5,000 reputation score for that sword. That would be really good. I don't think it's best in slot anymore for most of the stuff that I do, but it would definitely be way better at Calphite Queen. Maybe get that down from 45 minutes to like 20 minutes. All right, I might be about to hit 67 smithing. Let's see. Not quite. Next sword. I think I'm about to get smithing 67. Yeah, I had to click off of it really fast. Smithing 67. Just hit 68 smithing. So that's 2 smithing levels at this high of a level. It's pretty crazy. And we're getting frighteningly close to the reputation level I need for that sword. I'm going to have to start doing math as to whether I should be using it, you know? Probably not for like goblins and stuff, but maybe anything that has more health than the max hit value. It's worth it. I think I might be getting enough points here with this sword, maybe the next sword after this, to get the Colossal Blade. Oh my god, I can actually get it. I can't believe it. It's been a dream. It's less relevant than it was when it first was available, but I am going to go ahead and buy it. I'm sure it's more optimal to take the Smith's gear first, but it's going to be amazing to just have this now. New item added to your collection log, Colossal Blade. Cool as hell. This is going to be part of my fashion now. I know it's really heavy. Let me compare the stats to the Adamant Scimitar. Yeah, wow, this is insane. Plus 72 melee strength, plus 69 slash bonus, plus 67 crush bonus. It's obviously way slower, you know, 150% as slow. The Scimitar is like 50% faster. But for content where I'm not going to be trivially one-shotting everything with the Scimitar, I think that this is better in a lot of cases. Look at what the max hit is. It's a max hit of 21 versus a max hit of 12. It's nuts. All right, well, that's really exciting. I'm going to continue to use that here for fashion, if nothing else. And I finally got a bad commission. I think all of my commissions today have been amazing. It's all been like 34-22. So now I finally have a bad one. At least it was after I got my silly sword. Okay, the sword I just turned in was my 100th sword. Pretty wild I've been able to do that much since unlocking the junk. Okay, just finished my last sword, 136k smithing XP. I'm hoping that I'm going to have enough points to be able to get the next mold when I hit 69, because there is a mold to buy at 69. This one, needle point. Yeah, it costs 400, so I think we'll get there. We've got 330. I'm probably 2 swords away. We should be okay. Just barely. But yeah, that was by far the most insane Giants Foundry I've ever been able to do on this account, and probably will ever be able to do again, because I was able to use all those damaged armors. Also came out way ahead on money, almost up to 500k in the cash deck. Last thing I have to do for the cycle is last man standing, so I'm finally remembering to show you my supplies tracker before going there, because supplies tracker will include last man standing. Used a lot of law runes from making those damaged armors, but all this is pretty accurate on the whole, I would say. All right, I'm gonna head to last man standing now. All right, I got my 7 points. I had a couple unfortunate rounds where like I killed the other person and they killed me simultaneously, which I guess means no points. But we're done. Let's go summarize the cycle. Hey, what a wonderful time for a genie. Thank you, sir. I think I'm actually going to put that on Slayer, like I was saying. I want to get Slayer to 35, and then I'll go back to Lamping Agility. 35 Slayer will let us complete the Lumbered Swamp Cave, which will let us fish more down there, which would be neat. Yeah, so I think this sword is definitely better DPS than the Adamant Scimitar. The Adamant Scimitar can hit 3 times in the space of 12 ticks for up to 12 times 3 is 36 damage. Colossal Blade can hit twice in 12 ticks for 42 damage, right? So it's 6 damage more. That's ignoring the size of the enemy and ignoring the massive accuracy bonus that this thing has over the Scimitar. So I think this is correct to use against any enemy that has more than like 12 hit points. If I can one-shot it with the Scimitar, I should use the Scimitar. Otherwise, I feel like I should be on the Colossal Blade. That'll probably be my guiding principle going forward. Okay, it is the end of the cycle, and it's time to summarize. We are at 34 hours and 9 minutes. Most of that extra time was all the extra time I spent here in the Giants Foundry. Total playtime so far, 28 days and 4 hours. Also, a good chunk of that extra time was the time it took to clear Moral Wreck. Those Tizar take a long time to kill. Let's do our slow scroll through the objectives. Maybe not so slow scroll. You've seen me do this a million times, but if you want to pause at some point during it, ask whether I forgot to pick up the garlic and drain ore or not. Dragon Bone Man 2 I added as a task because Silvaria is not complete until we do that. Cool. That's the tasks. Let's look at XP. I gotta get that calculated. Okay, here's XP totals. Obviously, we got tons and tons of smithing XP there. Strength doing pretty well. Woodcutting and mining are about where they usually are. I did some extra cooking this cycle just to, shore up my food supplies. Lots of fishing now. A lot of that has to do with Temporos. About 5,000 of that was from failing Temporos at the last second, so I think I understand how to do Temporos a little bit better. I hope next cycle I won't have any fails there. Anything else on here? I guess construction's up a bit. We got an extra 10 oak planks per cycle now because of being able to boost to 55, so that's actually quite significant, the amount of XP afforded to us. The rest of this all is pretty straightforward. You'll notice this 340 to Slayer that I literally just got from that genie random. Let me show you the delta change in gain from last cycle. So this is the delta. We gained 200,000 more XP this cycle than last cycle. A lot of that came from the 100,000 to smithing, the 71,000 to cooking. You'll notice most of these are pretty neutral though. Construction's up by 370. That's a combination of the 10 new planks we can use, and I was able to repair the mast one time in Temporos. Range is way down there at the bottom because we weren't focusing on range anymore. We've moved to strength. And mining is a bit down just because we didn't get as good of a shooting star combination this cycle. But all in all, this looks, pretty standard. No big scary standouts, I think, from prior cycles. Do our slow scroll of the loot tracker here. I think I was pretty good this time. I want to say I over pickpocketed women again from clicking to attack them and forgetting that I still had them swapped to left click. Yeah, need to fix that next cycle. No accidental kills, though, to my recollection. Also go ahead and show you the random event list here. It's got that genie, but we've been pretty dry for a while now, actually. When was the last genie for dunce? October 24th. Yeah, I'm paying for getting tons and tons of genies and dunces back to back for a long time there, which is fine, you know, it happens. And then again, looking through the bank, we got all this Rag and Bone Man stuff. I actually haven't turned this in yet. I guess I'll do it next cycle. I don't really need it right now. You know, the quest point mattered, I'd go do it immediately, but I've got 90% of the way there. I just have to walk over there and light this stuff. So I guess when I go there for normal tasks, I'll do it next cycle. Monkey Bones are new. Tazar Head is new. Tokal is new. I picked up an enchanted gem. I was just curious if it showed me my Tazar kill counts, and it does not, sadly. Runite Bolts are from Soul Wars. Diamond Necklace is from Temporos. The Monkfish are from the Calphite Queen. Adamantite Bar is from a Black Demon. Black Plate Bodies are from Damaged Armors, with the Colossal Blade being my new best in slot for a lot of content. I'm pretty pumped about that. It's a huge upgrade. I'm also happy to have it out of the way like I was with the Ectoplasmator, because now I can start buying the smithing gear, which is what I'm honestly more interested in. All right, here's the scroll of the bank. These ammo counts are why I'm concerned about attempting the fight caves. I mean, I could bring different stacks of them, but I think that even if I brought all of my adamant arrows, all of my steel arrows, and all of my iron arrows, that might still only represent one attempt. And if I die to Jad, it's all gone, right? So Jad is pending access to more ammo. Need to get all this stuff deposited. I haven't done my test yet as to whether I can deposit things in the box in the player-owned house and then destroy it if it kicks those items out. I probably destroy them and just get them from Diango, but it's fine. I'm not going to start worrying about it until I actually run out of bank space here. Here are the net impacts to the bank here on the right. We are still positive on law runes, if only just. That was with using a lot of extra teleports. I think a lot of that came from the Elder Chaos Druids dropped like 8 law runes or something crazy. So even with turning in all those damaged armors, we still came out positive. I had said before that my condition for including teleport locations on the chunk roller would be having over 100 law runes and being pretty stable on law rune count. And I think we're basically there now. If I were to do that, it wouldn't really change a lot. I would add Falador, Camelot. I can't do Arduin without Plague City. I can't do Watchtower, and I can't do Trollheim. Yeah, so it would just add the Camelot tile and the Falador tile. So I think I feel confident enough in going ahead and adding those onto the chunk roller. I don't think I'm going to end up in a situation where I'm out of law runes and I'm stranded there. I have enough now, and I have enough sources that I feel like I'm, you know, breaking even. So this doesn't change too much. Western Falador, I'm already really close to being able to get to that tile. Camelot is quite a bit further away, but I don't think that that's... I think it makes sense to add it. I can just go there, you know, once per cycle and then come back. Anyway, I got focused on law runes there. Let's continue this net scroll here. Up 193k coins. That's almost entirely from Giant's Foundry, so love to see that kind of thing. I think that's everything I want to show you. Let me check real quick. Yeah, that about covers it. Let's pull up the chunk picker. Okay, here we are on the chunk picker. Let's review what has changed from before. On either side of the Karamja Volcano, I would love to get Brimhaven. I think I have a ruling for the agility arena, by the way, for whenever we do roll it. I did some discussion with Chaos Factor and Trock about this, and I think the way to go, we have the rule already that in a minigame, you know, the entities inside the minigame don't get tracked. You don't have to worry about whether you exhaust them or not. But agility arena, that would mean that I could stay down there indefinitely, which I think is unfair. I could get, you know, hundreds of thousands of agility XP as long as I never die. So I think the rule I'm going to go with is that I'm allowed to get a certain number of tickets in there equal to the number of pillars that are down there -1. So obviously, you know, there's RNG in the agility arena. I couldn't just say, hey, you can only touch all the obstacles once, because I probably would never get a single ticket if it ever, you know, repeated one. But I think saying hey, there's, I think it's like 18 pillars down there. If you can get 17 tickets per cycle, that's a pretty big boost in agility XP, but it's not, you know, game breaking or anything. And it still lets us meaningfully interact with the agility arena. So I would say this is definitely a thumbs up. This might even be higher than a thumbs up if I thought about it more, because there is a Brimhaven house teleport. And if I could finally have a teleport that doesn't require me to cast teleport to house, that would be phenomenal. Huge quality of life improvement for the account. Would also let me build a lot more things per cycle that I'm currently not building due to not wanting to waste law runes, right? Like anything involving limestone, anything involving clay, I could start doing that if I have an actual house portal. So Brimhaven would be sick. I've also added Falador here. We were already going to roll this, or this, but technically I can teleport there, so we'll include that as a rollable chunk. And we'll do Camelot as well. Now, I haven't looked very closely at these. I've just kind of put a thumbs up on there. I guess I'll think about them more for next cycle. And I'm not sure how much of them are actually accessible. This has a farming patch, which would be neat. It's just barely in the corner of that chunk. So I guess we'll review them more, you know, if we threaten to roll them. As far as what I want, still really want Edgeville Monastery because it gets us into the Dwarven Mine, which gets us into Falador, which gets us to the Motherlode Mine, which is amazing. East Falador would accomplish the same thing because we can jump over this wall now, thanks to Mithril Grapple. We can also fit in from the south. And this should actually probably be a gold crown, because if I can do the shop for the Shooting Star Stardust, that's a gigantic influx of crafting XP. I would love to see that. Paterdomus would be great. Port Sarum would be great. A lot of this other stuff is just kind of reroll content, so not huge. I'd love to get the Void Knight's Outpost, because this would be a reroll chunk, but it would also be amazing because I'd get access to a rune shop that refreshes. Finally, I'd get an archery shop. This might change my mind on the fight caves. And then this would be the chunk that would actually require a bonfire. I think that's everything to cover here. Don't want Corp Beast. If we get Corp Beast, I'm just not going to fight it, though. I think we've done the research and we've agreed that it's mathematically impossible. So yeah, let's roll the chunk. No further ado. Give me something good, please. That's good. That's really good. So this lets me finish Ferox East, because now I can pick up all the items. It doesn't really matter because I'm still going to do Last Man Standing and kill all the mammoths every round, but it's, you know, it's another completed chunk. The pool that I can use to refill my health and prayer and run energy is here. And it's really easy for me to get here like 3 different ways. I can minigame teleport here. I haven't made any rings of dueling yet, but I can ring of dueling here. I can get here via the Skull Scepter and then run up to the Soul Wars portal and then get here. So this is finally a source of like actually removing debuffs like poison and topping off on health, and that's really, really good. I probably should have had this as a gold reroll. It is in fact a reroll. I've killed grizzly bears before. I'm just making sure I'm not forgetting something here. Yeah, there's nothing that's actually new here. Well, I guess we should go there, kill the grizzly bears, and then roll another chunk, so I'll do that real quick. Okay, here we are at the chunk boundary. Let's go ahead and cross the fog wall. Beautiful. And I don't have to light a bonfire because nothing here is technically new in terms of exhaustible tasks. I'm going to step outside here in a second. It looks like I had to hop to a different world. Just use this pool of refreshment. I'm going to be doing that a lot. Big upgrade. I finally don't have to wait for this guy to path to the chunk border anymore. Let me go kill these 3 grizzly bears. Okay, we get to try out this Colossal Blade, which is probably overkill. I'm just double checking that I'm not risking anything by going out there with it. I don't think I am. It's a bronze arrow spawns out here, and it's weird. I don't actually know where these grizzly bears are. I think there's like an iron bar spawn out here too. I seem to remember that being relevant in Leagues 3 or something. Here's one of the grizzly bears. Hello. Oh, hitting at 22. Wow. Feels pretty different. Pretty down with it, though. I like the sound effect it makes when you hit, too. All right, I got 2 more of these to track down. I guess I gotta pick up these bones. I don't think... Oh, the iron bar is not in this chunk. That's fine. Last bear here. They really like to wander to the chunk north of here. Yeah, this Colossal Blade is awesome. It's gonna be so useful for Like Onkos, Catablepins, any of those enemies, really. I think I got everything that's outside of Ferox proper. I'll run around really quick. I think I got all the bronze arrows that were on the ground, regular bones that were on the ground. I don't know if there's anything else to pick up. I guess there's a couple broken arrows here, according to the chunk picker. I'm so glad to have this pool of refreshment. So good. Let me see if it's upstairs somewhere, the broken arrow. Here it is, yeah. Now I can also get to the item spawns on this side. I couldn't get there before because of the chunk border. One broken arrow. There's supposed to be another one somewhere, question mark. Yeah, I checked the wiki and I think it is a misprint that it says there's two of them. There's just the one spawn. Okay. So yeah, victory achieved. West Ferox is done. No bonfire needs to be lit. I'm gonna pop back into the chunk picker here and see what new stuff we got. I'm happy to see that we're getting more and more reroll chunks now. Like, it makes it feel more possible that we'll actually be able to complete this account one day. All right, we're back in the chunk picker looking at changes. This chunk over here would not be a reroll because of the Dark Warriors, although... Okay, Blackguards and Dark Warriors are not the same thing, yeah. So there is something new in that chunk. Wouldn't be a reroll, but I'm going to give it a thumbs up because there's 34 coal rocks there, which would be really, really nice for this account. This one, I was like, oh, there's nothing here. And then I realized that this is the Revenant Caves. I've never done Revenants before. It's like the polar opposite of the kind of content I want to do or ever want to do. So I'm going to put it as a skull for now because I honestly don't even know how realistic it is. Like, I think you have to go in there, you have to like pay money to get in or something. I guess I'll start to stress out about it when we roll it, but for now I don't want it. I mean, I know Revenants have cool drops, but everything about it is like cancer to me. So I really don't want to roll it. Let's see what happens here. Pick chunk. Hey, Port Sarum. Phenomenal. Okay, so yeah, this unlocks an enormous amount of content. There's all the places the boats go to. Critically, Entrana is a big one. That'll let us, you know, do Lost City. I think I can do all of Lost City from the chunk that we roll into. Yeah, we don't need this edge of it except for Enlightened Journey. So being able to get to Entrana is huge. There's a rune store here. Can I complete this chunk? Man, Seagull, Thief, Woman. There's quests that start here, right? Actually do X marks the spot now. I thought I was gonna be able to do like 500 hours ago or something. Pirate's Treasure we can't do. Okay, so it's not a completable chunk. So we'll get to buy out Betty's Magic Emporium once and that's it. Another farming shop. Another fishing shop. Yeah, this is just, it's really good. Lots of cool new stuff. We'll be able to complete a quest, which is really exciting. Really good shit. I'm just searching if there's anything that's bad. I think it's all good. We had that as a star chunk. Getting luck again on these chunk rolls. It's good to see it. Thanks, folks, for watching. We'll see you next episode in Port Sarum. Bye.